Good evening once again. This is just a short update regarding the problem with the mouse. As you know, I had an issue with initializing mouse during the first boot. So what would happen is that when I turn on the computer, Amicube, the system will boot up, but then after the system is up and running, I would need to reinsert the mouse. So I would need to kind of disconnect and connect PS2 again for the mouse. So I spent a lot of time changing Verilog, holding reset on DCMs, holding entire PS2 module in reset state for a little while until everything is up and running. And I did really try to do everything. I even rewrote part of the protocol for the mouse, initializing reset first, making a watchdog and trying to all sorts of things. I lost, I think, probably 2 days. But then finally occurred to me to measure the pins on Minimig and then compare that just to show you that it's working after reboot. So this is the first start and it's just fine. So it's been fixed. But after measuring pins from Minimig and comparing that to Amicube, I realized that the clock signal is being pulled up as it should. So if you look at the constraints file, you will see that the FPGA will pull up the pins for the MS clock and the mouse clock and keyboard clock, which is as it should be. And this is why it was working on the Spartan-3. But then why it's not working on Spartan-6? Well, it seems like Spartan-6 needs a little bit more time to kind of initialize itself and bring this to a pull-up state. And that's good enough for mouse to kind of gets into the faulty state because that pin is kind of floating and it's detecting improper clock most probably, and then it just sits there in some sort of confused state, confused situation there. But I think this is probably only this mouse and maybe some other like this one. This is a cheapo mouse from AliExpress for like, I don't know how many, $5 or something. And maybe that's the reason. Maybe some other models will work fine, but to kind of fix that and to prevent allowing this kind of thing in the first place where the pin is floating, what I did, I actually added a pull-up here. So if you look at the PS2, I've added a pull-up of 10 kilo ohms to 3.3 volts, which is a better idea because of sensitivity of the FPGA. You need to check if you're pulling it to 5 volts that the pins, FPGA pins, are tolerable for this voltage level, but 3.3 is just fine. And again, I said I'm pulling up this using 10 kilo ohm resistors, and lo and behold, the problem is gone. So sometimes I think comparing all the design with the new design and making sure that this is behaving the same and since something's not amiss will help. And I'm sorry that I lost 2 days of just chasing this strange discrepancy between these two chips. And as I said, more I learn about Spartan-6, it's more obvious that it's a very, very different FPGA. I mean, the way it behaves and the way it asks for certain things, especially in the domain of clocking, clock pins, different buffers, clock buffers, and so on. It's a learning curve, and this is something I've been working on for the last couple of days, just going through the documentation and reading about clocks and PLLs and DCMs with Spartan-6. However, good news. I mean, all in all, the mouse problem is corrected, and one thing that's not on the list anymore. Again, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you can. Stay tuned for progress, because now I'm going to try to make these videos as we go. Anytime I make some progress, I'll let you know. At the time, maybe I should also mention that I'm preparing a new board, and that has clock capable pins attached for the certain routes that's necessary. So I'm working on that. I'm also changing this reverse polarity for LEDs. That's a minor thing. And a couple of more things, which one of the things that's most important is decoupling, that I really didn't have time to do proper decoupling for FPGA. So now I'm going to do it as requested in the documentation of the Spartan-6. I kind of knew this. I went quick and dirty path, so I don't spend a lot of time in just, connecting these decap capacitors in KiCad because it wasn't really necessary. I knew that what I was doing will be good enough for the board to work, and that's totally fine. But as we're getting closer to the kind of final version of this iteration, then I'll just need to pay attention and do proper decoupling as well. So I'm hoping perhaps tomorrow I'll submit the Gerber files, and within, I don't know, let's say a week, we'll have yet another assembly. And then, only then, I'll be able to with certainty work on the clocking system, because I think these pins are required to be connected, clock capable pins for the clocks that I'm using, so I can use proper buffers, as I mentioned. Otherwise, I may have certain instability and uncertainty in the design, which is the worst. I don't know if it's something in the Verilog that I need to change. Is it crystal related? Should I try to achieve better precision using different clock and so on? So that's the next step. In the meantime, hopefully, before I submit Gerber files, I just make sure that floppies are connected well. I'm going to load the Floppy module, my own module that I wrote in Verilog, and make sure that it works. Just make sure that routing is okay, and then later we can start polishing everything that's related to the Floppy voodoo stuff, MFM, and so forth. It should work at least at the same level of stability as with the Minimig before. So that's happening probably tomorrow. I know I'm repeating myself, but again, thanks for watching, and subscribe, share, like. That's a small way to help the project, so people can stay tuned and involved. We have now, I believe, above 1,000 subscribers, which is bonkers. I started this recently, and seems like there is a lot of interest for these videos, and I have a lot of support from you guys, which I appreciate. I appreciate the fact that I can share this with someone who is, I guess, sharing the same passion for computers and design in particular. So I can promise a lot of interesting content coming soon. I guess talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one.